afternoon. My name is Donna Fiesel, and I'm your host of The Edge on IC Radio, your source for news and entertainment. You can also find us on television, channel 182 on Charter Communications. That's local to North Alabama. You can also find us worldwide. We are on Abundant Television, found on Roku, Apple TV, and Amazon Fire. You can also check out the podcast, netnewsnetwork.net. netnewsnetwork.net. Thank you so much for watching. You are the apple of my eyeballs, and I'll listen to you. When you send ideas for shows, I listen because we're all in this together, right? Right now, we're all thinking about money. What can I do to save? What can I do to keep my house? What can I do to feed my kids? What can I do? What can I do? What can I do? Well, we've got it. And so we've been talking about, this is part 2 of how to fight inflation. Again, we're all in this together, right? And so I found this really good article, Financer.com. That's Financer.com. And this is some really good tips right here. 5 ways to beat inflation. We talked on the previous show about what is this all about? What is inflation? Can you ever win? It's like this endless circle. It just keeps going on and on. I want to get off. Okay, I want to be able to make a living and feed my kids and keep my house and, those kinds of things. I'm in it with you, okay? We want to make it, and we can make it happen together, okay? We're a team, right? We're going to do it. It's going to be with us, okay? With God's help. Absolutely. Okay, we talked about why is skyrocketing inflation such a problem. We talked about how inflation affects us, and it affects everybody, okay? 5 ways to beat inflation and brace up for a possible recession in 2023. Number 1 was to diversify your investment. I'm talking even part of your investment can be seeds, okay? Because everybody can have a garden. Yeah, I've heard a lot of you say, well, you got the green thumb. No, I don't. What you do is you talk with people who've been in gardening for a long time. You talk with them and listen, okay? Let them do the talking. You listen. You're going to find it's just like a wealth of knowledge. Brian Brown is one of my best friends now, and he is with the Auburn Extension Service, and so he is teaching a class on gardening, this master gardening class, and I'm taking those classes right now through Auburn University. And I'll have to tell you what, I thought I knew quite a bit, not a whole lot, but I thought I knew some. And I told Brian the other day, I said, you know what I have learned most from taking this class? He said, what? And I said, about pruning trees, plants. You prune everything, okay? You can't overdo it. You can't kill it. And that was always my big deal before. So I had less fruit. I had less vegetables on the vine. I had less of everything because I was letting all those leaves take over. So you're continually getting rid of the dead leaves. You got to leave air circulating throughout the branches, throughout everything. And also, that's what helps you to grow a garden, okay? That's my biggest takeaway right there. And there's lots of other great things. But I encourage you, wherever you are living, find a Master Gardener's class. I'm just telling you, you really need to do that because you can't always depend on the supply chain. You can't always depend on the government, that's for sure. And I'll probably get my hand slapped about saying that, but you can't. I'm just being truthful with you. When it comes right down to it, it's you and your family, okay? And you can make a stand and you can take care of this stuff. You can do it. Talked about real estate, the bonds, gold. I still say seeds are more prevalent than gold. Okay, you get that big old block. It'd be nice to have it, but you got that big block of gold, okay? And then let's say the supply chain just is horrible, and bread goes up to $50 a loaf, and you got that big thing of gold. You got that big old brick of gold. What are you going to do? Give the guy at the grocery store that block of gold because you can't cut it into pieces? I mean, think of these things. This is all common sense stuff, okay? Think of it. Okay, we talked about cutting down on expenses, keeping track of your spending by the common items. So let's talk a little bit more about that. We got into paying every penny saved is a penny earned. That's exactly, you're actually giving yourself a raise. This is the way I look at it. Okay, so I wait until things go on sale. I just always have done that. So I wait until items go on sale, if I possibly can. So that money that I've not spent, I've given myself a raise. You can do any job. I start my very first job. Now, I always cleaned houses and babysitting and stuff like that as kids. I got my first car. I bought it myself. My parents said, "You want a car? Buy it." Well, I did. Was it the best car on earth? No, but it got me where I needed to go. So always, whatever you do, my first job was at a sewing plant. Do you know, I know people who have retired from the sewing plant who have more money than people who worked at a high rise in New York because they knew how to save their money. That's a big part of it. If you're making $500,000 a year and you're spending $600,000 a year, you're working like the government. And so you're never going to get anywhere. You're always going to be on that little wheel going round and round and round. So you can have a job, and I actually liked the sewing job. I thought it was a pretty good one. Of course, I kept cutting my fingers and stuff like that. I didn't cut them off, but I was on constantly with the blades cutting my fingers. I love sewing and I love crafting. It's probably where I got my love for crafting, so have little side jobs. You can do that as well. All right, now buy the common things, buy the things you got to have. Oh, and you know what? I don't have to buy cabbage anymore and pay $5 for a cabbage head. You know why? Because I cut off that little bottom core part. Everybody can do this. Find a plastic dish, whatever, or maybe one of your saucers. Put a little bit of water, just enough to cover it, maybe 1/8 of an inch of water in the bowl. Put that cut off cabbage bottom, that core, put that into that, and it makes more cabbages. It's become a game with me. I love it. Whatever I can repurpose and reuse, I'm doing it. Do you know you can get a banana? You can get a potato, and you can actually sprout food from that. Yeah, you can get some dried beans and put that in a potato plant. They did it back in the colonial days, back a long time ago, when they were shipping things from, say, from England back here to, or wherever people were coming in from, back to the United States when this country was founded, and that's how they were keeping food. They were putting it in potatoes. Who'd have thunk? They were smart back in those days. We need some of that brilliance. Okay, so whatever you've got, inflation indicates that you spend way below your means so that you can have enough left over to save, because you need to save. All right, now, use a fuel-efficient car. Gas prices have grown. It's through the roof. It's crazy since 2020. And although prices have receded, they're still higher than pre-pandemic levels. Well, they're going back up again since this person wrote this article. If your car is not fuel efficient, consider using public transport or walking if your destination is within walking distance. So Brad and Larissa live in a townhouse, and they're close to the Raleigh, North Carolina area. It's my son and daughter-in-law. And so they can walk everywhere they go. As a matter of fact, when we've had icy weather, Brad and Larissa, they'll go into work if they have to walk 10 miles in the snow. They're just that type. They were raised right. Although I think that's a little extreme. But anyway, Brad's needed on his job. And so it's within just a couple of miles. And he has walked in the snow, literally walked in the snow to go to work because he was needed. He had to be there. And so if you can work as close, like me, what do? I just go to another room because Phil has built a studio onto the house. Works out really good. I like it. Now you've got to be structured, okay? You've got to know that this is a job. And as a matter of fact, I probably wind up working more hours than I would if I worked somewhere in a building somewhere for someone. But think about that, okay? Think about efficiency. Think about fuel efficiency. Don't buy a gas hog right now. If you're thinking about buying a car, buy one that's much more efficient on gasoline. And the newer ones are more efficient. Okay, number 3, use debt responsibly. Yes, inflation is a good time to exercise some self-control. Use your credit cards wisely, and if possible, shop only with cash so you can keep track of everything you are buying. Don't take a loan if it's not urgent. Rising interest rates means borrowing money will be more expensive, so don't buy something you really don't need right now. Okay, so using credit cards wisely. If you have a credit card, I like to use a credit card because it helps me keep up with my business expenses. So when I'm buying fuel, I have the Walmart Capital One card. So with the Walmart Capital One card, it's pretty cool because I also get money back. So what I do is I keep tabs of that money back. So let me tell you what I do. I just make a game out of it. It's kind of fun. So if you are lucky enough to have a $5 store anywhere around your area, I mean, you got a huge blessing just right there. And these $5 stores, basically what you do is you get things that have been returned from Amazon. There's some stuff you don't want to buy. You got to be wise about it. So this is what I do. With my credit card, whatever I've spent money on, and another thing I do at the Walmart Capital One card is whatever I buy online, I get 5% back. I know it doesn't seem like a whole lot, but think about this. So let's say in a month's time, I have spent $100 at Walmart on daily needs, groceries maybe, things, just anything that you're going to need for the house, cleaning products, those kinds of things. And so I'm doing it online. If you go into the store and you check yourself out, you make 2%, but I want 5%. So what I do is I order online. Sometimes it's shipped to me. Sometimes I have to go pick it up. Guess what? I don't have to go inside the store. I'm not going to see that Snickers bar sitting right there saying, "Hey, Donna, buy me." I'm not seeing any of that stuff. So I'm spending less in the long run. It helps me to keep up with my budget. Okay. So another thing I do is I fill the cart. You don't have to check out yet. You can go ahead as you're thinking of things. That's another thing. Before this, I would run to Walmart before I knew it. I would forget what I was looking for. I would forget the note, like my little list. Then I started getting wise and I went on ahead and put the list on I would send myself a text with stuff I needed. But here's what I would do. I would go in, let's see, I'm going to get toilet paper today when I go to Walmart. Well, I would go there, get everything but toilet paper. This is just a foolproof way to do it. Shop online. If you can, you qualify. Get that Walmart Capital One card. Again, it's 5% back. And then if you shop inside the store, it's 2% back. But shop online, have it sent to you, or go to the store and pick it up. Again, if you're going to the store and you're picking it up, you're not going to be, that Snickers bar looks really good. Let me go ahead and get that, because the Snickers bars have went up in price and I just don't appreciate paying that much more. Anyway, I'm seeing what time it is. We've got to go into a commercial break. We're going to be right back in just a minute. More money saving tips to fight inflation. The Hatter Cafe and Country Inn is nestled in the northeast corner of Alabama the Beautiful in the delightful town of Mentone. We're located on top of scenic Lookout Mountain near Little River and DeSoto State Park, and located only 5 minutes from shopping and restaurants. There is also a nearby community walking path and golf course. We welcome everyone through the doors, and we are committed to outstanding service for all guests. At the Hatter Cafe and Country Inn, we invite people from all walks of life to come and get away from it all, enjoy the open spaces, treetop views, fresh, clean air, and experience Southern hospitality at its finest. We look forward to hosting you. To reserve a special event, or if you would love a special getaway at the Country Inn, you can call us at 256-634-2018. At Liberty Bank, we're all about community, whether it's to help with a charity fundraiser or help families in need. Toys at Christmas or a local football team, we're here for you. You see, we realize the importance of family. Sometimes it's to build a new home or necessary home repairs. We're here for you. If you like the feel of a small town bank with all the conveniences of a big city bank, we're here to serve you. You will find us at any of our convenient locations in DeKalb, Marshall, Etowah, and Blount counties in North Alabama. You can call and speak with any of our friendly staff at 256-659-2175, or check us out on the web at libertybankal.com. And thank you for your support of our community. Member FDIC, Equal Housing Lender. The only place I buy my beef is Lone Tree Ranch in Collinsville, Alabama. Their cattle is born and raised on their ranch, grass and grain fed, and you can feel confident when you serve your family and friends because their beef is all natural and no antibiotics or hormones are added. You can buy whole beef or perhaps go in with family or friends and buy half. Their customer service is number one as they take care of the delivery to their local processor and can deliver to your home for a small added fee. They also offer herd replacement heifers. I always call Lone Tree Ranch in Collinsville, Alabama for my beef specialty recipes and cookouts, and you can too. Food shortages are increasing, so buy local by calling 256-523-6462. That's 256-523-6462. Let Rhonda at Rhonda's Elite Tax LLC take the burden off you for all your tax needs. I know because Rhonda has been taking care of my business since 2013. I feel Rhonda works for me because she knows the direct questions to ask to better benefit my unique business in order for me to get back the biggest refund possible. Rhonda is an ongoing student, and she knows tax laws are in a constant change every year. Call 256-281-9903 for an appointment to take the dread out of getting your taxes done. Rhonda is located at 11968 U.S. Highway 431 in Boaz. Again, that number is 256-281-9903. And let Rhonda's Elite Tax LLC champion your personal and business taxes. At Lamone's Mexican Restaurant, located in Henniger, Alabama, and voted Best Mexican Restaurant of DeKalb County, Alabama 2020, we're here to serve you with authentic Mexican cuisine. Order easily online by going to lamonsmex.com or call 256-657-3999 to place your order. We're open Sunday through Thursday, 11 a.m. to 9 p.m. and Friday and Saturday, 11 a.m. to 10 p.m. Whether you're celebrating a cozy date night for two or a celebration for a crowd, at Lamone's you'll love our atmosphere and friendly servers. Thank you for dining with Lamone's Mexican Restaurant. Okay, we are back. My name is Donna Feazell, and I'm your host of The Edge on IC Radio, your source for news and entertainment. You can also find us on television, channel 182 on Charter Communications, and we are syndicated on Abundant Television, which is found on Roku, Apple TV, and Amazon Fire. Thank you, Rob Patz, for making that happen. And also, you can check out our podcast. It's netnewsnetwork.net. netnewsnetwork.net. And we appreciate that opportunity as well. But thank you so much for watching. We're talking about how to fight inflation. And there's one thing I do is make a game out of it. If you'll make a game out of fighting inflation, it's going to be much more fun. And you'll find you'll be saving a lot more in the long run. Yeah, we're talking about credit cards and how to save money on that. Go to Walmart, go online, find the Capital One Walmart card. 5% if you order online. And again, several different ways you can save money. Not only will you get 5% back, I'm keeping a list of the 5% I get back. So that 5% I get back is where I go to the $5 store and then I buy more products. I can sell it on eBay. I can use products to make things with, in crafting. I've got my props there to use on the show. So guess what? I'm not spending just a ton of money, and a lot of folks do. I'm watching some folks who have shows and they have craft shows. They're spending a whole bunch of money. You don't have to. You can find other ways to do that as well. Okay, so we talked about that. The common items, and that wait a minute, keep track of spending. Okay, so live below your means is a very effective advice to manage your personal finances, especially in a time with skyrocketing prices like right now. Inflation dictates that you spend way below your means so that you can have enough left over to save. So buy the common items. And by the way, there are store brands that are exceptionally good. I know Walmart has their store brands of products that I buy all the time. Store brand is just as good as the national brand. And then also you're helping Walmart, whoever you're buying from, you want them to stay in business, right? So this is something my son taught me. He's in the grocery store business. And so he said, when you buy store brands, Mom, when you buy store brands, he said, you're actually helping the company to make a bigger profit. So think about that, okay? I want them to make a profit because I want them to stay in business. If Walmart or whoever you're shopping with is making a profit, your Lowe's is one of our sponsors. If they're making a profit, guess what? Then they're going to be in business longer. They're going to be able to afford to go down on the cost of the product. So that's what you want to achieve, okay? Wherever you work, you should not be looking out just for yourself when you're working for an employer. You need to be looking out after the employer. If the employer is making money for a change and he's not just paying your salary to stay in business, so if he's making a profit, guess what? It's going to trickle on down to you. You're going to get a raise. If you're doing a job, now Mr. and Mrs. Employer has to know that you are worth it, okay? I'm just telling you, I've been on both sides of the deal. If you're worth it, I'm going to give you a raise. Absolutely, I will. Okay, use a fuel-efficient car. We had started talking about that just a few minutes ago. Gas prices have just really it's unreal. Make sure you got a good car. We talked about using debt responsibly. Okay, let's talk about, and debt responsibly. That also means pay what's on your credit card balance. Let that be another one of your priorities. Try not to put a whole lot on there, but if you're paying interest, it's not doing you a whole lot of good to get 5% back on your Capital One card. You know why? Because you're going to wind up spending a heck of a lot more. You just will. That's another common sense thing. So be really careful about that. Stock up on food. That's my number one thing right there. Stock up on food. Yeah, make sure you look at expiration dates on food. Now, I have found that the expiration date is what they advise. So let me talk to you about expiration dates on food. Okay, so let's just say you've got 6 months left on a can of beans. Okay, as long as that can of beans, you can use two different reasonings for this. If it looks like it's the can has kind of gotten a little bit bigger, you know what I mean? So it swelled a little bit, throw it away, don't even open it. It's going to smell like I don't know what. So throw that can away. Now, if you open it up, it hasn't swelled, use your nose, okay? This is a real good indicator right here. So if it has a funky smell of any sort, that's even in fresh vegetables that you buy. Anything you buy, if the food has an awful smell to it, toss it. Okay, it's not worth getting sick over. But I'm just telling you, I have used foods like it's checking in. See, I treat my kitchen like a business. So if I have something that's in the back of the pantry and I see, oh, let's see, that expired a year ago. Should I use it? The can looks okay. Doesn't have any puffiness on it. I'm going to open it up. I'm going to use my nose as a tester too. So I'm using the nose as a tester and it still smells good. I'm using it. Okay, that's what the company suggests. That's the expiration date suggestion. Now, I wouldn't use anything that's 10 years old, but, just be within reason. If it has a smell to it, toss it. I have opened things that were like in the expiration date, like maybe it had 2 years left on it, and opened it and it smelled. So just always use your nose anyway, whether it has the expiration date on it or not. But do stock up on food. You need to keep your food organized, okay? Because there's nothing worse than finding I bought a bunch of beans that were on sale, whatever, and then I didn't keep up with my inventory. And then 2 years from now, I found that there's a bunch of them, they smell bad and they they have an expiration date that's went way past the expiration date. So be sensible about it. Know that it's something you're going to use, and then I give away a lot of stuff. So I know that I'm going to be able to use those beans, or I'm going to be able to use them and give them to somebody else, maybe somebody who's hungry down the road or whatever. So, that's just another good thing. Stock up on food. Now, number 5, have an emergency fund. Okay, an emergency fund is a safety net to fall back on tough times. Just make sure your emergency fund has enough to cover living expenses up to 3 months, if at all possible. 3 months without any income coming in. Inflation does not stop emergencies from happening. No, it doesn't. Car's going to break down. That's what cars are. You know what? They're not. When you buy that shiny new car, I'd never buy a new one, by the way. That's why I always loved shopping with Bobby Ledbetter. I always loved it. So we bought a car, a used car, saved a lot of money. I didn't lose a bunch of money driving it off. If you can afford it and you want to, go ahead and buy one. I'm just telling you that I don't want to buy a new car. I always want to find somebody I trust with a used car. And Bobby's one of them. And so I miss doing business with him. So anyway, just make sure, okay, that you find something you need to get. If you have a friend who's a mechanic, what you can tell the used car salesman is that I have a friend who's a mechanic. Is it okay with you if I leave this car here and take this one? I'll leave you my keys and whatever I need to leave, but I'd like to take this to a trusted mechanic. First of all, if that person is worth their weight in any kind of gold whatsoever, they're going to let you do that. Bobby always would. So, so if you've got somebody who trusts what they're doing, they'll do that. I know that there was one car that that Phil bought. It was like a long time ago. Is we were living in Oxford, Alabama, I think. And so we drove it off it looked good, smelled good, all this kind of stuff. And it ran good when we did the test drive. We were driving down the road and it was like Phil heard something. He can hear anything in a car that I never hear. So he said, "Do you hear that?" And I said, "Hear what?" And he said, "That's making some kind of a noise. I don't like the sound of that noise." So it went on ahead and took it by somebody, a mechanic he knew. And he said, "Did you just buy this car?" And he said, "Yeah." And he said, "You might want to take it back." He said, "You're going to have a problem." I think it was alternator or something. He said, "It's okay right now, but 6 months from now, you'll wind up having to buy a new alternator, and that's going to be some money there." If at all possible, pay cash for your car. That's just another thing. But have an emergency fund just in case you got to have an alternator for that car. And the price of batteries has went up in cars like, man, tripled. It's unreal. I remember the day when a car battery was only $30. I remember actually being 1999. Yeah, that was a long time ago. And some of you young people out there don't know what in the world I'm talking about. Yeah, car battery was $19.99 when I graduated out of high school. Isn't that crazy? Okay, now to sum this whole thing up, while a moderate level of inflation is necessary for economic growth, skyrocketing inflation has the opposite effect. In the long run, it leads to an upward spiral of wages and prices and erodes the purchasing power of money. We don't like that. To curb inflation, the Fed has been raising interest rates, spending to drive the prices down. I don't think it's working, but anyway, there are people who will argue that fact with me. While this has had some effects on the inflation rate, it will take time to get back to pre-pandemic levels. We're summing that up. In the meantime, you'll have to hedge against inflation and brace up for a possible recession. I think we're already in it. As economic activity recedes due to rising interest rates, the best way to hedge against inflation and brace up for a possible inflation is to diversify your investment portfolio. That can mean whether you have stocks and bonds or you're just finding a new way to save money. And remember, saving it is like getting a raise, okay? Sure is. Like I said before earlier in the show, I know people who've been working at plants, sewing plants, whatever, sock mills, stuff like that, who have more money than the people who had to actually high rise in New York City. They've been able to put that money back. So think about that. Thank you so much for watching. My name is Donna, and I'm your host of The Edge on IC Radio, your source for news and entertainment. You can also find us on television, channel 182 on Charter Communications, and Abundant Television, which is found on Roku, Apple TV, and Amazon Fire. And check out the podcast. We appreciate you doing that. NetNewsNetwork.net. NetNewsNetwork.net. Again, thank you so much for watching. means so much to me. And thank you for advice also. Any other topics you would like for me to talk about? Just go ahead and send an email my way, Donna@icradio.com. Donna@icradio.com. Thank you again so much for watching.